Are you struggling with slow performance on Azure Functions? You're not alone. Many developers face this challenge when running CPU, RAM, and I/O-intensive code in a serverless environment. Today, we're diving into why your code might be running slower on Azure Functions compared to your local workstation. I totally get it. You expect your code to run smoothly, especially when you're transitioning to a serverless architecture. It's frustrating to see such a significant difference in performance between your local machine and Azure Functions. You're definitely not the only one experiencing this. Let's break down the specific situation. One user reported that their CPU, RAM, and I/O-intensive code runs much slower on Azure Functions compared to their local workstation. They shared some timings that really highlight the issue. For example, their local workstation takes just 2.47 seconds, while Azure Functions on the app service plan takes over 10 seconds. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So, what could be causing these slowdowns? Azure Functions operates in a different environment than your local machine, which can lead to performance discrepancies. Factors like cold starts, resource allocation, and the nature of serverless architecture can all contribute to these issues. Let's dig deeper into how we can address this. And stick around. At the end of this video, I'll share some valuable tips on how to profile your application and optimize performance on Azure Functions. You won't want to miss it. To begin addressing the performance issues on Azure Functions, the user should first consider profiling their application. This can help identify where the bottlenecks are occurring. Next, the user should evaluate whether Azure Functions is the right platform for their workload. Given the CPU, RAM, and I/O intensity of their code, it may not be the best fit. For running more powerful workloads without managing virtual machines, the user can explore Azure App Service or Azure Kubernetes Service. These options provide more control over resources. Lastly, the user should consider optimizing their code for better performance on Azure. This might involve reducing the number of temporary files or optimizing image processing tasks. Fun fact, did you know that serverless computing is like ordering takeout? You get the food without worrying about cooking or cleaning up. But sometimes, the delivery can be slower than expected. Now, let's look at the answers provided by other users. One alternative solution is to profile your Azure Function app remotely. You can use Kudu for this, which has proven effective for other users. The user also mentions that the timings you've observed might be acceptable depending on your application's requirements. Lastly, a more suitable approach for Azure Functions could be to break down your long-running tasks into smaller, short-running functions. This can help with parallel processing. Here's the pro tip I promised. Regularly monitor your Azure Functions performance using application insights. This proactive approach can help you catch issues before they become major problems. And there you have it. With these tips, you should be better equipped to tackle performance issues on Azure Functions. Remember, optimizing your application is an ongoing process. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more insights and tips.